Hey, this is Ameer. You're listening to Sneaky Geek, episode 27.3. Yeah.
Sunday came. I woke up to some sweet texts because I was not in the house. Like
you were in Bakersfield.
I was in Bakersfield. Yeah, I was at my parents' house, and I woke up, rolled over, turned on my phone, and watched the Mandalorian panel on my phone.
Yeah.
I love Jon Favreau.
Oh my god. So Jon Favreau.
He's so great. And Dave were like BFFs.
They're BFFs. So the Mandalorian is about a Mandalorian. They're making a live-action TV show, and that was pretty much all we knew up until this panel.
Yeah, we don't know who the Mandalorian is. Yeah. We don't know. We didn't even know who was playing him, at least as far as I know. I did.
Yeah, they released the cast like a month ago.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So but up until like a month ago, all we had was like a screenshot. We didn't have a logo.
No, it was just him in armor. Yeah. But no, so Jon Favreau came out and Dave Filoni came out and they're sitting there bantering back and forth like they've been best friends for years.
Yeah, they probably have.
And in fact, they were talking about it. They met while Jon Favreau was mixing Iron Man 1.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And Dave was doing the audio or doing vocals for, or recording vocals for Clone Wars Season 1.
Wow.
So they were saying that Jon Favreau was the first one to see the Clone Wars and Dave Filoni was the first one to see Iron Man.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
I think they both also bond over the fact that they have a creative committee that tries to control them and they keep going, no.
I know what I'm doing. Because they're both super huge fans. Jon Favreau kept name dropping things from the 501st.
Yeah, the man has a ton of respect for the lore. It's not just, I love this, Like, when somebody takes over and starts writing on Doctor Who, you're like, okay, we can tell you really like this, but you've picked and chosen what you like.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau's like, no, I've got encyclopedic knowledge of Star Wars. I'm putting this together proper.
Yeah.
He's one of us, too.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, totally, yeah. So they were talking about just how they kind of got together and how they got the show together and what Jon wanted to do with the show, like straight up live action. They wanted a lot of practical effects, not a lot of special effects.
Yeah.
Which they did with the ships and stuff. Yeah. ILM was like, we're going to solve this for you.
They're doing model shots again.
Yeah.
Which they haven't really done since the original trilogy, basically.
Yeah.
They did a little bit here and there on the prequels.
But they did it on their spare time, too. He's like, no, I'll figure this out. Because they love the ship design.
Yeah.
And so they went through and showed the actual pass of the ship.
Yeah, that was later on, yeah. So then they showed, I don't know if they showed footage first, but Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were out there for about 5 minutes talking and just going back and forth and okay, let's introduce the cast. And so they brought out the guy that's playing the Mandalorian.
Oberon?
Who was Oberon in Game of Thrones. And
Isn't Apollo Creed in it too?
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so Pedro Pascal is playing our Oberon. You raped you murderer, you killed our children.
Prepare to die.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, fully intact head. Is playing our Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. And then we had Gina Carano, who was Cara Dune. And then the man, the myth, the legend, Carl Weathers. Ding. Apollo Creed is playing a guy named Grief Karga. Mm-hmm. Also, we have confirmation, not from there, but on IMDb, that Werner Herzog's going to be in it, Nick Nolte's going to be in it, and Taika Waititi's going to be in it, possibly as IG-88.
Yeah, there was a big old hint when he posted on his Instagram page a couple weeks ago. That's going to be legit. He also directed an episode. We'll get to that later.
The directors. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
for sure.
But then also Giancarlo Esposito, who you know from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Is also in it.
Our tie adjusting. Yeah. Also, with a complete and fully together skull.
Yeah. So they're in it. So they brought them out. They talked about it. And they talked about, it was really cool how Jon Favreau told Pedro,
oh my God,
I want you
love
in it.
that story.
So he basically just said, hey, come down for this meeting. Come meet some people, and I'm going to show you some stuff. He's okay. And so he shows them this room full of storyboards, and concept art. And he's like, cool, am I going to play this alien? And do you want me to play this droid? What do you want me to
do? You want to play this bug guy?
Play this bug guy? He's like,
which I'm excited for because now we know there's a bug guy.
Yeah. And he's like, no, you're the Mandalorian. And he, like, as he's telling the story, he's tearing up.
Yeah, he's choking up.
He's so choking up, and you're like, he's our people too.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But then also, like, the cast that was there, they were just so close. And even, like, Carl Weathers was so appreciative and so just into the show, which I didn't expect at all.
Yeah, Carl, I mean, the guy came back for like 3 different Rocky movies. Like, the dude's down to stick with some franchise.
Yeah.
Plus, everyone's, mistook him for Billy D. Williams
all the time.
once in a while. Anyways, people were like, so I know somebody was like, wait, Carl Weathers isn't already in Star Wars?
Yeah.
No, that's Billy D. Williams.
It's a different guy. Different guy.
Also, Carl Weathers has aged quite well.
He looked great.
So it's the same.
Yeah. But yeah, so they brought out those guys, and they're like, okay, we're gonna show you some footage, just a little sizzle reel. It's about 3.5 minutes long. You guys are gonna enjoy this. We're sorry about everybody streaming live because it's only for here.
Yeah. Which is a shame because I really would have liked to watch it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Which is why the internet's great because they let us watch it.
Yeah. God bless the internet.
Yeah. Forget you guys, Star Wars people.
Yeah.
We love you. We love you a lot. But please don't ever do this to us again. We don't like having to take these measures.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it ended up being just a cool. They did a little bit of behind the scenes, kind of give a little
some interview stuff.
They get some real quick shots of all the directors.
Dude.
That's cool.
And that's a pretty legit
Bryce
list
Dallas
right
Howard directed one.
I saw that.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm trying to think who else. All crew.
Rick Famuyiwa?
Yeah.
He did something super awesome. I can't think of what it was.
Deborah Chow.
Dope the Wood.
Dave Filoni directed the first episode.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they got some really serious people on here, and they were saying too, like, it was really nice because everybody who directed an episode were big fans of Star Wars. And so they like took extra care with it and did it all out.
Deborah Chow gets 2 episodes, and she actually directed an episode of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
And Jessica Jones may have its drawbacks here and there, but the acting in that show is pretty dang solid.
That's great.
She's also done an episode of American Gods and
Vampire Diaries.
And Lost in Space, which I don't know if you guys have watched Lost in Space.
It was
that
great.
show is so good.
Wait, when's season 2 coming out?
When is season 2 coming out?
BT Dubs.
Mr. Robot. Wow, she's directed a lot.
Yeah, so like they got a solid production crew on this.
Yeah.
They also talked about how they.
2019.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm so excited. No episode titles yet. Whatever. Okay,
It's fine. Yeah, we know it's coming out later.
Wait, Mandalorian. Here's what you're talking about.
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. I was like, wait, we know.
Mandalorian is out in November.
Yeah, we know that's in November. Which interesting. We kind of guessed that because there was an advertisement for Disney Plus that had the menu on it. And so, like, within... What was the article even about? I don't even remember what the article was about because I was losing it over the price.
It was just going to be $6.99.
Yeah, it was just a basic rundown because... Yeah, so Disney announced basically the breakdown of everything for Disney Plus.
And Disney knows that they're going to be dragging people away from Netflix, which means they have to undercut them on price, at least for the first couple of years. So that'll be nice, which means we're in kind of a buyer's market for a hot second.
I mean, it's Disney. They can afford it.
Sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
But in the images of their promotional stuff, there was like a thumbnail for the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It was the first time we actually saw the logo.
Yeah.
But we knew when the streaming service was going to launch. Oh, that's what it was. It was an article about the streaming service's launch date.
Yeah.
And so everyone just assumed like, oh, they're going to launch with Mandalorian. It would be foolish not to.
Yeah,
sure, shit. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So it was announced they're doing the first episode when it first launches. I'm guessing they're doing it like a weekly after that. There's 8 episodes.
Don't know if they're going to do it Hulu style or Netflix style or new Netflix style, which they have a couple of weekly shows now.
I think it's a weekly thing.
Yeah, it's weekly.
I'm pretty sure
probably,
Yeah, I don't think they have enough content to allow for binging.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be their problem. That's going to be the hardest thing because Netflix, you get all those because they want you to get through as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because they have a ton of content.
Yeah.
Like on that episode of South Park, thank you for calling Netflix. You're greenlit.
Yeah. That was great. But yeah, so the panel was great. They end up showing a cool behind the scenes clip that they actually did show for the streamers where they showed how they filmed the model stuff and who was creating it. And one of the OG ILM guys from the original trilogy, like, did it up, and he did it in his garage.
And what's cool is they are still using some elements of, like, computer. Like, they have it on a system flying by, and the cameras, everything's, running on its thing repeatedly. But they have one take where it's lit this way, one take where the engines are lighting up with little LEDs in the back. And in doing so, they've created enough images that they can composite it all together. So they're still using some modern technology to, like, enhance it and make it really, really good.
Yeah.
But
at the base, it's straight up practical effects.
Yeah, it's all,
and it looks so pretty.
That's going to be pretty.
They didn't really give a whole, like, what it's going to actually look like, but they, like, a solid minute of the ship flying over in different lighting, and then they have, like I said, the engines. It was really
We ended
cool.
up seeing the actual finished clip in the 7-minute clip that they showed. Because then they didn't tell anybody they were doing it, but there's a 7-minute clip.
There's a 7-minute clip that was online. It didn't get taken down by the time we saw it, surprisingly. But it was,
I saw it this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow, shoot.
Yeah. Shame on you people for recording things while you're in there. Thank you.
Yeah.
We owe you.
But that was really cool, too. Like, the armor of everybody looks cool. The background, the backdrops, little aliens, and
the whole feel it feels like Star Wars.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it feels like you're in a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
And
Felt like home.
Yeah.
Just like Bakersfield.
I was just thinking Star Wars.
Oh.
But, sure.
A little that too. Maybe that's what it's really about.
Yeah.
It's Tatooine similarity and moisture farming to all the dares who live nearby.
But I love that panel, and I loved everything that came out. I keep saying it, I think I'm more excited for The Mandalorian than Episode 9.
I'm not. I am.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty excited for both, but I kind of want The Mandalorian.
Honestly, the top 3 for me, if I have to rank them, I am most excited for Clone Wars, then Episode 9, and then Mandalorian.
Gotcha, yeah.
And only because I trust Dave implicitly, but I am all about the hype of what's happening.
The main story.
I am ready to get hurt again.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. I really think that they pulled it together to, like, close up this story. And as long as the mouse goes, Endgame was long. You guys can be long too. We'll be
Yeah.
okay.
If Endgame is successful, which it will be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a 3-hour movie. They can afford it.
No.
There is no reason why any company shouldn't have trusted a long film after the success of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We are willing
Those
to
are
do
great.
it. The only evidence that we have that it doesn't always work is King Kong, which frankly I loved, but wasn't critically great.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see
I like that movie.
I love
Jack Black.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's awesome.
Except that Beauty Killed the Beast line. I've never considered that to be clever, but they love that line.
Yeah.
And they used it in the original, and they used it in that one. Anyway,
So
what happened
speaking of
after
which,
Mandalorian?
after that was Clone Wars.
Clone Wars!
Which was...
So exciting!
Yeah, so Dave came back out,
Talk some more about the Trust Tree.
talks more about the Trust Tree.
Brought out the voice of Maul, who is... What's his name?
Not
I
Ray
don't know, you
Park.
wouldn't say the voice actors' names for anybody in Rebels, you just called them by the character
That's fair.
name. So yeah, we're just keep it
The
going.
voice of Maul, Ashley Eckstein, the voice of Ahsoka, because I love her, and the voice of
Rex and the Clones.
Rex D. Bradley Baker. The voice of the clones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know their names.
Yeah.
Maul is... It was cool because Maul was kind of dressed up in a sort of Maul-ish outfit.
Yeah.
And,
a leather jacket with
and
red
Ahsoka
sleeves,
was... Ashley Eckstein, like, makes, like, character similar, like, casual clothing.
Yeah.
And so she saw the jumpsuit for the first time, like, at that panel and was like,
that's cool.
I'm making that jumpsuit. You know I'm making that jumpsuit.
She's one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they all are.
Sam
Yeah.
Witwer.
That's
Maul. That's who
Maul,
it is.
the voice of Maul. But what's
He
cool...
also voiced him in Solo, didn't he?
Yeah.
And the mocap was done by Ray Park.
Yeah.
And Ray Park did the mocap for the fight scenes that they're gonna have in Clone Wars.
Oh, that's cool.
So when you see Maul jumping around and stuff, all the choreography that, like, is happening in the Clone Wars next season.
Yeah, he's got a pretty cool fight. We're not going to spoil here. If you really want to know, watch the panel. But that fight, the big fight, is all mocapped.
Yeah, which means it's cool. OG Ray Park, the
Darth
guy,
Maul. Yeah,
Darth Maul,
yeah.
moving as Darth Maul does.
Duel of the Fates, Darth Maul.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one of the big announcements from that panel. We're getting 12 episodes. We don't know the lengths.
And Dave keeps saying this is why you're only getting 12 episodes. But, like, he has this... There's something about... I don't I mean,
do you believe him?
No, I don't believe him. I don't believe him for a second.
12 episodes.
I don't know if he's going to go like, okay, now we're doing a Clone Wars after show afterwards, or if he's going like, no, we still have more story to tell.
Or if they're doing like a movie. Like
who knows? Dude, close with the movie?
Yeah. Open with that movie, which was okay. And then close with the movie that was, that's amazing. Yeah.
I'm down. I honestly, now, if you watch the movie as an episode, it's a lot
part of it. It is. Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time I tried to watch Clone Wars, it was not the movie. It was the one where they go to the Geonosis, or when they go to Geonosis.
Yeah.
And the Genosian Queen is up there.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember being like, this is super weird. I don't know how I feel about this at all. And I remember talking shit to you because it was like Christmas Eve or something, and I was watching cartoons in the morning because I'm not an adult.
As we do.
What else are you doing on Christmas Eve?
Right? Yeah. And I remember texting you about it, and then like 2 years later, like they brought out later. Oh, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because I want to talk about something else that I originally hated about this show that I now adore. Yeah. I'm sure Brian already guessed what it is. Oh, no, actually, I've kind of liked Ahsoka from the start. Like, I've been like, you're kind of annoying, but like...
actually, you see her grow as a character, and then
you're right. I did actually find Ahsoka, like, annoying.
Oh, we hate her.
But
as did the internet.
I didn't hate her as a character as much as I hated her as a concept.
Yeah.
Like, the mere idea that Anakin had a Padawan and that it was this obnoxious kid... But, like, by the end of that first season, I'm like, Ahsoka might be my favorite Jedi.
Yeah. She is.
And she is. She's my favorite Jedi.
Yeah.
Hands down. But anyway, so Clone Wars. Sorry, Brian, tell me.
Yeah. So Clone Wars, they brought out some of the cast and was talking to a few of them, and he's like, we have a clip for you guys. So they show a clip, and it's...
So they all sit on the ground and watch the
Yes, they all, they get in front of the
They all get in their spot on the rug.
Yeah.
I have the
it's
oval.
A cool clip, and Dave name drops 1313.
Yeah.
Which, if you know anything about that, the game that was scrapped, which you mentioned a little bit earlier, 1313 is a, layer of Coruscant where...
Coruscant is a stacked city.
Yeah. So this is the part of the lower depths where no one really goes, and it's kind of sketchy. But
it's where a lot of the bounty hunters hang out.
Yeah, a lot of bounty hunters hang out there, and apparently the clone troopers were going to go down there and do some stuff.
I think a lot of Dark Disciple happens.
Yeah. So after that, kind of, they talked about 1313 in general for the game. It started popping up with little things here and there, and Expanded Universe at the time, and then little bits and pieces here in the Clone Wars, and then just little bits here and there. But we saw it a little bit in Clone Wars, but not a whole lot. But now it's going to be part of the story.
Yeah.
So that was part of the clip that they showed where was Ahsoka finding her way down there.
Now,
really cool.
One of the things that is also worth noting is that a lot of the extra stuff planned for Clone Wars, stuff that was half animated, stuff that was recorded audio but wasn't actually finished, stuff that was just storyboarded, has made its way into the existing canon now.
Yeah.
So the Ahsoka book has scenes from the Siege of Mandalore, which we've heard about. We've seen concept stuff and a little bit of extra animatics for the Bad Batch, which we'll talk about in a second. Mm-hmm. There are actually unfinished but rendered in their lower. No mouth, no vocal sync.
But the vocals are straight up done.
The vocals are all recorded. But there's a whole.
And you can see a lot of these on
StarWars.com. arc on StarWars.com.
Yeah.
And we don't know if that's going to remain canon, because pretty much the rule for Star Wars is it's canon, and if it's accessory, it's canon until the film's
till the film's
contradict it.
Which at this day and age they won't, because they've been pretty careful about that. That was more in the old Expanded Universe days.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much there. But they're pretty cool, even if they're not totally done. The story's awesome. The voice acting.
We watched
great.
We were watching some in your room way back in the day before I moved here.
Yeah. And then so we got a clip of that. They were talking about the show a little bit more.
We got Bad Batch clip.
We got a cool Bad Batch clip, which is basically
the A-Team or the A-Team
super soldier versions of the clone troopers, where Dave was like, sometimes if they have, eccentric qualities about them, they might get calmed down a little bit, but they're like, well, instead, what if we just amp it up? So that's what this Bad Batch is. There's 5 or 6 of them, I think, and we got a really cool clip of that, and they're kicking droid ass. And
Yeah, super cool. And D. Bradley Baker, as an actor, had a really cool note on it, in that most of the time when he's playing Rex or Cody or whoever he's playing...
Because he plays all of the clones.
Yeah, he's the voice of every clone. He has to keep them all in the same voice while keeping different personalities.
Yeah.
And making sure that you can tell who's talking based on their personality traits. Whereas this, he has to keep their voices kind of radically different while still obviously that they're from the same voiced clone.
Yeah.
So it was neat. It was a really cool
insight to
it.
Yeah. To his acting method.
So much more than just reading lines. Like
T. Bradley Baker, I mean, when you play that many clones all with the same voice, you have to differentiate between Five's Heavy, Rex, Cody, and everyone else in between.
Yeah. And Dave Filoni had a really cool point where he's like, oh yeah, like when I was in the recording booth and a lot of people just didn't know like that he did the voice for everybody. Half the time it's, it's D fighting D who's killing D, but also coming off of D, and it was hilarious the way he put it on there, but it was just like, oh yeah, that didn't, like I thought about it, but I didn't think about it.
Yeah, and then after they went from the Bad Batch, then we saw our 1313 stuff, and then we saw the unfinished, not voice synced Ahsoka clip where she's back.
Yeah.
And
so spoilers, in the show, she leaves the Jedi Order, and for some reason, we haven't quite gotten there yet. That's in the new episodes. She comes back, and she used to fight alongside Captain Rex and Obi-Wan and Anakin. They haven't seen her in maybe
forever
a year.
How long, depending on what the...
Well, the Clone Wars happened in a 3-year time span.
Right.
But we don't exactly know where... it's probably... That's obviously at the tail
long enough for him to get his hair longer, which it is in the show.
And she got a little bit taller, and her
leku are longer,
Yeah.
And she is going to spend time in like 1313 in the lower depths, possibly because she's stranded, based on the clip we saw of her speeder bike getting all wonky.
Yeah.
Possibly.
But yeah, so she goes back, and then they all paint her their masks
just like her face. Like her face. It's really cool.
It's super sweet. And then they brought out extra other characters,
voice actors.
Yeah, and they had the guy who voices Yoda, and the guy who voices Wolf Yularen, as well as a few other characters.
Yeah, so he did them both.
Oh yeah, he is Yoda and Wolf Yularen.
Right? Guy did Grievous in the movies, who's also a sound editor at Lucasfilm. That's how he got the gig.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah, so basically he was helping to do all the sounds and stuff for Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones?
Would have been.
No,
he was introduced in Revenge of the Sith because his original appearance was in Star Wars Clone Wars with Genndy Tartakovsky.
Yeah, but he worked on Phantom Menace.
Oh, okay.
So he's been around for a while. So they were trying to cast a voice for Grievous, and like they couldn't find one, so he just read it randomly. Well, I'll give it a try, and George Lucas was like, "That's the guy."
Yeah.
And he already worked. So he's done Grievous's voice for all the animated stuff, the movies, video games. Like he's the guy. So it's cool. So he got brought out. The guy that played Anakin, later played Padme.
General Kenobi.
So they had a bunch of everybody else kind of showed up, which was kind of cool. But it's like, I wish he would have came out earlier and told more stories.
That said, the guy came out who voices Wolf Yularen and Yoda. Did some good Yoda impressions.
He did,
but he also did his A Galaxy in Peril. Which I hated that voice. I hated that voice so much. Every time it appeared in another commercial where like somebody's talking about what's going on in this toy commercial, whatever, I'd be like, oh, I hate that guy. If they don't have the Galaxy like News on the March, News on the March, Citizen Kane like BS in this new season, I'm gonna kick someone's ass. I love that guy. When he showed up in Rebels, I was like, Wolf Yularen's back. Like, I love this dude. It's one of those like, because I hated it with such passion, if it was gonna flip to positive, there was no way it could flip to anything less than ecstatic. Just adoration and love.
So much,
I couldn't just come to neutral. No, I had
it's complete
polarity shift. Reverse the polarities. I'm here. And like when he was up there and he's like, "Oh, Galaxy," I was like, "I love that guy. That's my guy." I was so happy. So he was there. And then they showed the actual trailer.
With the completed part of that. A couple of the clips were in there, which was really cool.
We have a couple of clips from when she left the Jedi Order, and then
a bunch of fighting, and
then an ending that was really sick.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was expecting General Kenobi. So good. So good. So good. So excited.
Yeah,
so excited. I don't know if you guys know this, but Clone Wars,
He's excited.
it's coming back.
Coming back? What?
I texted Brian after watching the panel because I watched it a few days later.
Yeah.
Brian's asleep. Like, I know he's out.
I got the text at like 1 a.m.
and I'm like, bro, I don't know if you know this, but Clone Wars is coming back. And then I went to bed. I was like, I know he's not going to respond. And then the next morning, I wake up to a text that goes, "Wait, what?" As if we don't do this to each other at least once a week.
Once a week, out of nowhere. It's been our inside joke since Comic-Con.
Since Comic-Con, because like every time we would remember, we were like,
holy
Clone
shit,
Wars coming back. What? I didn't know.
Yeah. So
I mean, we've talked about it before on this. When we were in the panel and Clone Wars appeared at the end of the thing.
Yeah.
Because we're all sitting there and like they're just gushing about how much they love Dave, and then they did it here too. And
Yeah.
now they have Dave's trust tree, which they gushed about quite a bit because nobody's in Dave's trust tree.
Yeah.
Like D. Bradley Baker told Ashley Eckstein that Clone Wars was coming back like via text, but like hinty, and she's like, I feel like this is a test and that Dave is with you right now.
He's like, he is, but this isn't. But he is. Say nothing.
Yeah, say nothing. Be quiet. Say nothing.
Yeah.
But when they announced it, they're all up there gushing about him, and then there's Dave Filoni, and he's like, "Well, we've heard everything you guys have said about it, and we really appreciate it. So we put together a clip." And then it starts, and you hear all these, you see all these helmets or whatever as they're panning through. I don't know if you seen you haven't seen the trailer, the OG like teaser for it, have you?
Oh yeah, that one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was they're like going through, we're like, oh cool, like a bunch of unused clips, and then they like cut to Ahsoka on a hologram and Anakin with long hair and like footage we've never seen.
Yeah.
Ever.
That, yeah.
And also we're like,
what are we watching? What are we watching? We cried.
Yeah. Like everybody.
Tears ran down our face. Strangers were hugging.
We were hugging
People
everybody.
were high-fiving each other.
Yeah.
It was
jumping up and down.
It was the greatest news.
Was that Comic-Con? Yeah.
And then they rolled it again, and then we stood up
Did
and
it again.
Standing ovation.
Yeah,
we lost our mind. It's why we saw Dave and we're like, Dave, that panel was amazing. Thank you for doing what you do. You're amazing.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
So to go and then be able to see a whole bunch more and to see
and they mentioned he mentioned in this panel, he's like, before that stuff at Comic-Con, I had 7 completed shots. That was it.
Yeah.
He's like, I have a few more now. And that's what everything.
Yeah, and he loves throwing out that clip. And mind you, I don't know if we've said this yet. All these panels, except for like one, are being moderated by Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
He wasn't in this one.
He wasn't in this one, no. But
most of the time.
We'll get to those in a little bit.
he was there for the Rebels one.
Yeah.
And he was like, boy, you just love showing clips. Because no, he wasn't there for the Clone Wars one because Ashley Eckstein went and hugged the stranger.
That's right.
And Warwick Davis was like, yeah, Adrian, I bet you didn't expect that, did you?
Yeah.
You owe me one.
Yeah.
But Warwick Davis was moderating most of these panels. And
which is great.
He's just
so pretty awesome.
That kind of brings us to the end of the Clone Wars panel, and we got some cool stuff. We're assuming it's going to be on the Disney Plus.
We know it's going to be on Disney Plus. They announced that at Comic-Con last year, but
so know when.
We don't know.
They haven't really done a release date yet, but
I mean, if they just open with like, "Hey, all of Clone Wars is on Disney Plus. You can watch the old stuff."
You're gonna be able to watch the old stuff for sure. But
hopefully,
it's still on Netflix, isn't it?
Nope.
No, it's still there.
Is it? Oh, I thought it got rotated.
They kept trying, and it just kept on staying.
Yeah. So, anyways, so that happened. And there's a bunch of cool little interviews. I think that's when Florence came over. Florence was supposed to join us here, but then the whole grad school thing got in the way.
Yep. Florence was on our post Last Jedi.
Yes, she was there. In fact,
she was actually on one of the greatest episodes we've ever recorded ever, which will never see the light of day because Audacity is a shitty recording program, which is why we use Adobe. Adobe is a great recording program that seldom crashes and honestly has a great audio interface. Please pay us to Adobe. We really need money.
But so she was over, we were watching the live stream, and I was telling her, because she caught a few things here and there, but I'm like, there's sometimes there's really cool interviews, sometimes there's really stupid interviews, and they're filling time, and so, we saw, what did we see? There was...
I know they interviewed Palpatine.
Yeah, he showed up.
And he kind of teared up.
Ian McDermott?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah, he kind of teared up because he was all excited about playing Palpatine again, which was...
Oh, nice.
There was the Phantom Menace throwback panel.
It was Monday.
That's Monday.
Yeah.
And that had Jar Jar, the guy who played Jar Jar.
Ahmed Best. He also did an interview. It was great on the Star Wars show.
He got a huge pop too, just like Kelly Marie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, the Star Wars fandom has had some pop little moments of being really, really awful to some of their people. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool the aggressive counter love that they were given. Because, like, don't get me wrong, everybody loves Anthony Daniels.
Yeah.
They're not chanting Anthony Daniels' name. They're chanting Ahmed's name. And they're chanting it because they want him to know, like, hey,
we love you.
We love you.
And we appreciate you.
Like, we know that you were obnoxious.
Yeah.
But, like, and they kept pushing, like, Jar Jar's George Lucas's favorite character. Like, and I'm not entirely sure that I 100% believe that. But I do, and Jar Jar Binks is directly responsible for the death of a senator. But
he created the Empire, basically.
He basically created the Empire. Yeah, he's the patsy, for
and
sure.
he's a Sith Lord, because I'm going with that.
Yeah, they also mentioned that in the... Yeah, we'll get to there, but,
But, like, I think that and Kelly Marie Tran, like, both, it was, the fandom being like, hey, don't listen to those assholes.
Yeah.
Like, we do love you.
Yeah, as much as I hated Rose in that movie, I'm like, one,
she didn't deserve the hate.
Yeah, it was never her fault.
No, it's never her fault.
Yeah, she was fine. Her acting was fine.
She was just
she
created
seems like such a
because
sweet
Ryan
girl.
Johnson didn't trust that Poe Dameron and Finn could have conflict.
Yeah. And I'll never forget when I first saw her on that panel and she was all excited about it being Star Wars. Like, so cute.
It was so just heartfelt and like
and she was really cool that she's all crying and like, they're all like
when I saw the hate she was getting, I was like, dude, coming from somebody who absolutely hated that movie, I was like, dude, I wouldn't even
except
do
for
that.
Yoda.
Yoda?
Yeah, you loved Yoda.
I always loved Yoda.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
But so like to wrap up Sunday.
Oh yeah, Sunday.
My favorite non-panel part was Star Wars Show interviewed this company that does tiki versions of Star Wars cups and characters, and I want all of it. They have this big
you gotta drink those birthday Mai Tais out of something.
Hell yeah.
So this is a podcast, and Brian's birthday is next week.
Yes, it is. I plan on drinking lots of Mai Tais. And water.
Non-alcoholic Mai Tais, of course, because we're going to be... I'm drinking right now. I have whiskey right now.
I just finished mine. But
I also...
Anyway, so this company had some, like, cool designs and shot glasses. And
I really liked how much they brought in, like...
merch
makers and vendors and stuff, because the shoe people were really cool. Not that you were into the shoe people at all, but I was.
Loves the shoe people.
It's completely sustainable materials. It's really neat.
Oh,
Coconut husks. Anyway, tell more about...
There,
all right,
Dan.
Coconut husks.
But yeah, so that was kind of my favorite part, because it was just... They had so many different ones.
Yeah.
And they had a cool Death Star tiki bowl.
Neat. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Florence and I were looking like, oh, we need all of
this Royal Punch.
Yeah.
Which I hope that the Death Star was deceptively large.
I think so, yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
I should be able to mistake that thing for a goddamn moon.
A moon or something, at least.
It's no moon, though.
It's not?
Oh, but I can fill it with a snow cone. That's snow cone. No?
I have a Death Star waffle maker that's pretty awesome.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
We have a Death Star ice cube maker, which is what mine is, but now it looks like the Death Star 2.
Yeah.
And pretty soon it's
which I actually got for my birthday a couple years ago from Florence, who I met at the last Star Wars convention that was in Anaheim over here.
Oh, nice.
It all comes together.
Small world.
So that was Sunday, and right after that, we got ready for Game of Thrones.
Yep, we watched Game of Thrones
Twice.
Yeah, twice through, because my friend didn't know that we had it on California time, and so he came over expecting we didn't start at 9.
Yeah.
We covered this table in cheese.
Yeah.
This table was covered in a charcuterie. This whole table was a charcuterie.
We should post that.
We should post that. We'll post.
Someone's got a legit pic. We have so many different pictures from so many different angles and cameras. Like someone's got to have a good shot.
Was it on your story? I think I saw it on your story.
I think it was on my story.
Yeah.
There were
so I was like, this sounds familiar.
At least 8 types of cheese on this table, and 4 kinds of meat.
Yeah.
And grapes and rosemary scattered throughout for decoration, which I ate plenty of as well. We were so uncomfortably full. Like, it was that good, like, this is not a carb full.
Yeah.
Oh, and also 5 types of crackers.
Oh, yeah.
But, which
even the next day I was hurting, and I didn't drink that much.
That next day I felt so gross.
Yeah.
I was like, what did I do?
I think we all did, yeah. Anyways.
So after Game of Thrones.
So much Game of Thrones, and it was an episode.
And then that was the end of Sunday. And then we moved on to Monday.
Monday!
Which is a whole other episode part, sort of. Splitting chunks.
Yes.
Content.
Give us all the things.
Yeah, listen to the next one then.
Here we go.
What happened on Monday? Wait, did we do a clip show for Monday?
Yeah, should be on there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. The Star Wars Celebration went to Monday.
And then I hear your voice like through the podcast, and I hung up, and I was like, wait, did I hang up?
Thanks to the magic of Adobe Audition.
Please hook it up, Adobe.
Okay, so this is a podcast. It's
Yeah.
the Ivy Fest all over
Yeah.
again. Didn't you get a tattoo at that celebration?
The LA
Speaking
Film
of school and your life is a lie,
Rewatching Scrubs right now for the 700th time.
for the record,
Video game
Yeah.
characters.
I love Chumbawamba. Single-handedly responsible for the success of the rebellion.
And I love Star Wars.